All right, we move ahead to our final guest of the show. As you have heard by now, this man will face Jairzinho Rozenstruik April 18th at UFC 249. Let us welcome the Predator, Francis Ngannou, to the show. Francis, how are you?
I'm good, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing great. Crazy times in the world, but in terms of your fighting career, you have a date. We have a reported location. You have the same opponent now. How are you feeling now that you actually have a date for this fight?
I'm feeling really good. It's been a very tough process, so we didn't know exactly what's gonna happen. But at the end, we finally make it and know where it's gonna be, where the fight gonna be. So I'm very happy about that.
You've been a guy that's been waiting for a fight for a long time now. It'll be around 10 months or so between fights by the time you step into the octagon. As everybody knows, this fight was supposed to happen at that Columbus, Ohio event on March 28th. Once that event was postponed or canceled, were you beginning to think to yourself, especially with everything going on in the world, I might be waiting forever to fight Jairzinho or anybody at this point?
Yeah, that's why I said it was kind of like a frustrating, but at the meantime, when it get postponed, you couldn't blame nobody. It was just the world going crazy, and everyone was victim, and obviously, more people was going through a lot more than you, with this coronavirus out there. So, I mean, I kind of found my way to stay positive with it.
How have you been able to stay positive? What are some of the things you've been able to do to stay positive throughout this whole thing?
Well, I've been doing my workout, my home workout, and think about those people who are out there struggling, being a victim or whatever. At least I'm healthy, I'm safe, my family are safe, and I'm grateful for that. Sometimes we kind of skip on top of what is more important because we just chasing something which is less important, and we don't even take time to be grateful for what is important.
Well said. There's obviously a lot of questions surrounding this event. Some of those were answered earlier this week when Dana announced the entire fight card. But you were in the news a few weeks back. You were telling the guys over at Submission Radio that the UFC did have you tested for COVID-19. Have there been any more tests since you had that conversation with those guys?
No more tests. But I've been trying to stay away to be quarantined no matter what, because at the end of the day, I don't want to get sick. Nobody want to get sick. I think we are all scared about this shit, but at the meantime, we don't want to give him everything,
Right. Have you been given, or your team been given, any information on how this event will be handled from the medical side? From testing, doctors, things like that. Have you been given any sort of assurances on that during fight week?
No, we don't have an update about that. I was talking about that today with my coach Eric Nixik, and we were talking about thinking about what the UFC might do for the insurance part or something like that. But I'm sure there's something, they are working on something. I'm pretty sure there is something that they are working on. I'm going to be the insurance, the guarantee.
So you feel confident when Dana says they're going to go above and beyond to make sure that the fighters and everybody involved is safe, during this event? You feel confident that that will be the case?
Yes, I feel confident about it because I believe what he said, and also the most important thing is not like they are just throwing us out there. They're gonna be out there with us. So, and I'm pretty sure they don't want to get sick either. So everyone want to be safe. So that it's good for everyone to have a good and safe environment to be at.
I know you spoke with our very own Damon Martin recently. There's going to be a couple of features coming out soon on MMAfighting.com in regards to that conversation. But now that we're here and we have a date booked, How are you feeling about it? Like, would you describe it as excited? Like, any additional nerves with everything going on in the world? How would you describe that feeling right now?
You know, I'm very excited about it. Basically, like now that the whole war has stopped doing event, and then the UFC is definitely finding a way to do events. So we're gonna be the only one out there performing, doing a show. I mean, it's kind of like exciting, and but at the meantime, it's kind of weird a little bit, like being in the arena, empty arena fight. So it's kind of a weird feeling, but will get you excited at the meantime.
Have you experienced anything like that before, fighting in, maybe not in an empty arena, but with a very small crowd like that?
Not like that. I mean, even my first fight ever was in the arena with at least 2,000 people in there.
Oh, yeah. So this is going to be new. Imagine a Francis Ngannou punch landing with all that echo, and you can hear it all. It's going to be really weird to hear and watch, right?
Yeah, but I don't think while I will be there fighting, I'll be listening to the sound of my punches.
That's right.
I'll be focused on my opponent.
In terms of your career, Francis, you've had, you were on a good streak, and then you had a couple of setbacks in the octagon. But since the Derek Lewis fight, man, you have been on fire. 3 straight wins, 3 first-round finishes, and you've spent like just over 2 minutes combined in the cage over those last 3 fights. What would you say is the biggest difference between the Francis Ngannou we saw fight Derek Lewis to the guy we're going to see on April 18th?
Well, there's a lot of difference between that guy. I mean, I'm gonna go a little bit one fight back. The Francis Ngannou who fought Stipe in January 2018. Was a guy that was still learning. I mean, obviously, I'm still learning the sport. I'm still learning the martial art, but I have understand a lot. I've gained a lot of experience and know how to handle fight. So it's a lot of way more experience and a lot of better fighter than back then.
Even though you didn't walk out of Boston with the title that night, would you say that you needed that night, even though it didn't go your way? Would you say, like, in terms of progressing your career and evolving in the sport, you needed that fight with Stipe? You needed a night like that to sort of go back to the drawing board and figure those things out?
Definitely. That is something that I always think that will happen at some point in my life. So then rather be that soon than later. I didn't have a long career. I started MMA very late, so I didn't know a lot of things in it, and my rise was very, very fast. So I kind of like skip on top of something. Then from there, I have to have a better understanding for fight. I was before that fight. I was always concerned, like, what do the third round looks like. Obviously in that fight, I had to, even though I was tired, I wasn't looking good, but I was able to do like 5 rounds. And then when you go to something like that, you kind of like understand that, okay, if I get prepared, if I train very well, I'm going to make it, so it's not as bad as I thought, even though I didn't work out with the title that night. But yes, I think that was a very, very big step up for me.
And now you're going to fight Jairzinho Rozenstruik, who is very confident right now, Francis. Many people believe that the winner of this fight will fight for the belts the next time they step inside the octagon, whenever that may be. And you've said in multiple interviews that you have not been overly impressed with Jairzinho. Why is that? Why haven't you been impressed with him?
I mean, I don't know about you, but I haven't seen a fight that got me impressed. Like the fight that led him to this fight, he just got lucky on that fight. I mean, I'm not underestimating his skill. I'm not like taking him light, but I haven't seen like something that I would say, wow, this guy is an impressive fighter. Obviously, he's good. He has a good knockout power, and he's right to be confident. I've been there before. Like when you have a straight wins, you feel like you are the man. You're confident. You have everything, and that's exactly where he is.
Do you feel like you're kind of looking at yourself a couple of years ago, looking at Jairzinho going on this streak right now? Do you feel like you're kind of seeing a little bit of the old Francis Ngannou in Jairzinho?
Yeah, exactly. I kind of like understand what has happened to him. Like he's feeling to be above everything, to be like the stronger man. But it's gonna take him time. It's gonna take him time to understand how things work.
So this is going to be a good learning experience for him, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
One of the questions I've seen constantly since this card was announced is, why is the fight between Yorgan De Castro and Greg Hardy higher up on the card than your fight with Jairzinho? Like, they're on the main card, your fight's on the prelims, and I don't think you fought in the prelims since you made your UFC debut back in 2015. Like, how did you react to seeing your name on the prelims and having Hardy and De Castro being on the main card?
Okay, so I mean, my reaction, I was very happy because I asked for. It's kind of like the prelim, the supposed prelim, which is the ESPN card, is the one that I wanted. And then the main card is a pay-per-view. I think the ESPN one, who was the one that I supposed to fight, my contract was on the ESPN, so who has more audience and free for now. So I wanted to fight on ESPN. So I asked, we asked the UFC to put me on the ESPN. So that was our call.
You don't have to tell us, Francis, but if you want to, that's fine. But do you know where this fight is happening? Like, you don't have to tell me where it is actually, but do you actually know where this fight is going to happen?
Well, somewhere in California.
So you know it's in California, but I mean, like I said, you don't have to tell me, but are you aware of this right now? Or are you just feeling like it's somewhere in California?
I heard from some journalists today. I mean, I haven't heard nothing from the USA, but yeah, somebody told me it's going to be somewhere there.
All right. Do you have an official prediction here for this fight a little over a week away for UFC 249? How do you see this fight all playing out when you close your eyes and visualize it all going down?
Well, when I visualize this fight, it might be some fight we're going to end. Maybe the second round, me do what I used to do. Obviously I'm gonna take time to like settle and read through his game, feel good, and then strike.
Couple more things before we let you go, Francis. I appreciate the time very much. I know it's a difficult time in the world right now, but you have done a lot of good. You've been giving back. You opened up a gym in Cameroon. You've established the Francis Ngannou Foundation. How fulfilling has that been for you on this journey?
Personally, it's something that has been really, really great. I love it. I do it. I do it because I want. And also, like when I see those kids back then, I mean, they just record myself a couple of years ago, and I can still see myself among them, being one of the people. I'm capable of doing something for them at the meantime for myself today. It's like a personal goal. It's something that I really, something that is really important for me.
Have you been able to speak to people back in Cameroon? How has that area of the world been dealing with the coronavirus and everything that's happening right now?
So far, they are doing pretty good. It's not as bad as here, which I hope is gonna stay like this. But it's not too much like here in the US or in Europe. So life is still going on. Obviously they closed the border. Kids are not going to school anymore. They're trying to reduce the risk to spread it out, but there is not a lot of victims, a lot of cases.
Well, that's good. It's finding some silver lining here. I wanted to mention this. We've been seeing a lot of YouTube content from you recently. I know you've been teaming up with the great Andrew Faraday, the gentleman behind that great documentary series, The Fight Game. How have you been enjoying putting out your own YouTube content these days?
Well, since we were just home, I was bored. Then I just have an idea to do my own home workout. Then I started to do the home workout, and it gets some good recall. So I started to do it on YouTube, and I think I'm gonna keep doing, posting it every time now.
That's great. I think I've been enjoying it. I think a lot of other people have been enjoying it as well.
Yes, and obviously for the documentary, Andrew, very good job about that. He handles everything about the documentary. The only thing I have to talk and tell you everything about it, and he put stuff together.
Yeah, it's really good. I highly recommend you check it out on Francis's YouTube page. And lastly, Francis, when it comes to UFC 249 and these fight cards and what we're all dealing with these days, there are people who are all in for this, and there are people who are completely against it. So, what is your message to everybody when it comes to this very different time in the world? Not just from a fighter's perspective, but from a human being side as well.
From my perspective as a human being for this, we are as scared of something. We have something to go through. We have some risk to take. Even without the coronavirus, every day we go out there and take risk. We step in the octagon, put everything in the line to put the show, to take care of our family. And this is the same thing that we are trying to do. The coronavirus didn't give us a notice, didn't let us a time to get prepared. People might don't be ready. They wasn't prepared for this, and then still have to feed their family. And if they see the opportunity to go out there, it's still like going to the grocery store to find a food, for the family. Like when I work to the grocery store, there's more people in the grocery store than I bet you'll be in that arena, So then I'm like, okay, what's the difference? At least I'm going there to take this risk for something. I have taken a lot of risk worse for less than what I'm doing right now. Way more risk for nothing, So, personally, I know that sometimes you have to take risk. You have to think and just do what you have to do, what you like to do. I just get excited to be out there, fight, think about that instead of staying in my house. It's something that really get me excited, and I would take the risk,
Great stuff, Francis. I really appreciate this. I know there's a lot going on in the world, including your return to the octagon next Saturday, April 18th against Jairzinho Rozenstruik. And, my perspective is, whether you're into this or not, at least this event and upcoming events will be able to at least feel normal for a few hours watching these fights. So I appreciate the time. All the best to you for the rest of the preparation in the fight itself on April 18th, Francis.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. Thank you again for the opportunity. And nice talking to you.
You as well. Thank you.